Yeah, well, it is Thursday. That means the Watchdog on Wall Street, Chris Markowski, joins us for a little financial chit-chat here. How you doing, buddy?
Good morning.
All right, so we wanted to talk about a couple topics that caught our attention. The first of which, there's a new website called 3 Jars. Actually, I don't know how new it is, but it just came to my attention. 3jars.com. And basically, this is a website that helps parents with the age-old debate on how much you should give your kid for allowance.
I think it's great. The first time I saw it and heard of it, and I'm going to go check it out afterwards. I think the important thing, as far as I'm concerned, everybody's situation is different in regards to allowances. You want to make your kids also put money away. One of the piggy banks that my kids have, it's got the 3 different slots. You got the slot for we're going to give to charity. You got the slot that you're going to keep for your own spending money. Then you got the slot that you got to put away and actually send to the real bank. And I think it's important to teach kids about money as soon as possible. So anything that helps with that is great.
That's really good. And by the way, this is an interesting idea on this 3jars.com. What they do is if you're worried about inflation adjusted allowance, it actually calculates that for you. You put in your age, your kid's age, how much you got as a kid, and then it'll tell you what you ought to be giving your kid if you want the same thing as what you got when you were a kid.
I'm trying to remember what I did get as a kid. I think the chores around my house, I didn't get paid for that stuff. I actually had to go to work with my father, cleaning office buildings as a kid to actually get paid.
One last question, because there's an interesting question on this site. Do you think that if you're, do you think it should be based on your income? Should your allowance that you give your kid be the same as your neighbor, or should you give your kid more if you're a wealthier individual? You see what I'm saying?
I see what you're saying. My wife makes a lot more than me. That's all I know.
Okay. All right. Second topic we wanted to cover was this JetBlue all-you-can-jet deal. They got this thing going where for $700 on any day of the week in basically the month of September, spilling a little over into October, you can go anywhere in the country that JetBlue flies. And then if you take out 2 days, Friday and Sunday, it's $500. What do you think about this?
I think it's great. You got a month off?
Yeah, I know.
Who has a month off? Anybody? Everyone got to take a month off unless you're like a kid, and they're back at school time too. So you know who started this is actually Cathay Pacific, which is kind of neat for people trying to take an extended vacation where you can go from like Thailand to Australia to New Zealand. But who has a month off?
I know. Well, and that's what I was saying when this came up again, because the first time they did it, I thought if I were young again and I didn't have any responsibilities, and maybe my parents were bankrolling this, fantastic. You fly over the country and have a great time.
So Lindsay and Paris got a deal, so they can travel around.
There you
Kim
go.
Kardashian, the whole gang.
All right, our next hour, we're going to be talking with you about using smartphones as credit cards, essentially. A very meaty topic we want to get your thoughts on. And if you have any questions for Chris, head to our website, dailybuzznow.com. Mitch?
Contraceptives based on the brain. Those are your headlines. You are plugged into the news.
Yeah, they also said in that study that it affected a brain called a part of the brain called the conversation hub.
Oh, yes, that's
right. Which is
why
I guess women always want to talk after sex.
Oh my gosh, our watchdog on Wall Street, Chris Markowski, is joining us to talk about a couple of financial topics and hopefully be the referee in this debate that Andy and I have been having about American Airlines charging another a la carte fee, basically charging you to sit in the front section of the coach area. I think it's crazy. It's
about
an extra fee.
$19?
Well, they start at $19 depending on how long your flight is. And I'm thinking, wait a minute, here we go again, another fee because the airline is trying to, gouge the consumer, it seems like.
I think it's kind of crazy they charge $5 for coffee at Starbucks, but they get away with it, right?
Well, that's their set price, though, from the beginning. American has never charged these airlines have not charged these crazy fees, all along. They just came up with this when they talked about, oh, we're going into bankruptcy, we need to charge extra this, we need to charge extra that. I'm just saying, I think it's bad business. I think it's unfair to the consumer.
But you're not going to have to pay for it, though, right?
If I don't want to fly.
If you don't want to fly there, if you don't want to sit in those seats, you're not going to have to do it.
It's the principle of it. And I'll tell you this, airlines made $13.5 billion last year alone just in fees. Just in fees.
Right, but Kia, as a whole, though, the industry has been bleeding money for years now.
But it also spawned a new business. UPS is now shipping luggage. Rather than take your luggage to an airport, UPS said, oh, we got a great idea. We'll charge less for the luggage. Bring it here. Then you don't have to deal with it. They'll just ship it to your location.
Robert sent us an email. He says, come on, admit defeat. If you can't afford to keep it in the air at the ridiculous prices you're charging, stop it. Sick and tired of hearing about bankrupt this, bankrupt that. America needs to take the time and upgrade our rail system. He's saying, these airlines are getting away with a lot of ridiculous, fees. It seems unfair. I think it's bad business. I think if I have an established airline and I have this rate, if you want to make your money, okay, maybe increase your your flights. I understand that if you say, well, times are different, gas may cost more, whatever. But to just tack on fees.
If it is bad business, the market will dictate, and they will have to remove those fees. And that's just how the market works. Anytime somebody brings out a bad product, it's not going to work. Remember, do Coke. Bad idea, right? It's the same type of thing. That's what the free market does. If it doesn't work out for them, they're going to have to remove it.
All right, so how about this? Does this work out for you? More and more restaurants, like numerous ones in New York City, are saying cash only, please, because they're tired of paying the fees back to Visa, MasterCard, American Express that they have to take on as a business.
Amongst other reasons.
Amongst other reasons.
You think they're trying to escape or skirt the IRS?
There's great restaurants, I mean, on the Upper East Side to this day that have never taken credit cards simply for that reason.
For the IRS?
Yeah, absolutely. There's no doubt about that at all.
Because once it's a cash business, they can claim, oh, we only made $11 this year.
Sherry Shepherd it, if you will.
Sherry Shepherd it. Wesley Snipes it.
Hey, and real quickly, we were talking about Saturday is topless day where women are going out talking about, hey, gender equality, I'm going to go topless because men can't. What did you saw had something interesting happen on vacation?
I just got back from vacation, and the resorts are right next to us. So I was taking the kids to a little tidal pool that was over there, and all those resorts were topless. And my kids were like, oh, look, it's rated R beach. I thought it was kind of funny. But, over in Europe and things like that, they don't care. I mean, it's not a big deal. Even there are like Johnson & Johnson commercials that shows it. I don't understand what everybody's preoccupation. I really don't.
Well, it's legal in, 9 states, I think it is, for going topless? Yeah.
Yeah, and there's no beaches in most of those states. Now, another business I went to is cash only and had topless women in them as well.
Ah, see that?
There you go.
There you go. Yeah, well, it is Thursday. That means we have our weekly conversation with the Watchdog on Wall Street, Chris Markowski, about all things financial. I wanted to ask you this morning, Chris, about these smartphones. They're talking more and more about smartphones being used essentially as credit cards or debit cards. You walk into a store, you got your iPhone, beep, and then nothing. You don't have to take anything out of your wallet. What do you think?
I think it's a great idea, and I'm actually looking forward to this type of a thing simply because tax laws are changing, especially for small business owners out there. Next year, everyone is going to have to account for every vendor, every supplier that they do business with over $600. They're going to have to issue a 1099. This is going to help you track a lot of these things. It's also going to allow points, rewards, various different things to hit your phone. So I think it's all in all a good idea.
But what about the safety concerns in terms of the fact that these could be hacked into? You got so much personal information on one little electronic device.
I was mugged twice when I lived in New York City. Both times, I had all my credit cards stolen. I called the credit card companies. They sent me a new credit card. The cash in that wallet never came back. It's really that simple.
There's no protection for that cash. Okay. Also wanted to get your thoughts on allowance. We saw this kind of cool website, and basically what it does, it's called 3jars.com, and it allows you to factor in the rate of inflation in terms of what you ought to be paying your kids now in terms of allowance if you want to pay them the same, quote unquote, the same as what you got when you were a kid.
Yeah, it all depends on any single time you're getting your kids involved and learning about money is a fantastic thing. I think that's one of the biggest problems we have in our society is just people's lack of understanding what interest is, what compounding is, all this good stuff. You get your kids saving at a young age, get them understand the importance of saving, putting money away, working for various different things. Everything in life that has meaning, value, and worth involves work, time, and effort. It's a good step.
Okay, now speaking of that, there's also going to be an article in the New York Times Magazine this weekend about 20-somethings, this newest generation of young adults that maybe are not becoming adults as quick as the previous generations. They all kind of have these 5 pillars, a mortgage, kids, college, not living at home, being financially responsible for yourself, and they're not hitting these milestones nearly.
Well, I think now, for some reason, I think that's maybe a little bit more difficult now. You're taking a look at the economy, and as far as trying to move your way up in the world, maybe to some degree. We also had the problems where, housing markets were ridiculously inflated for an extended period of time, and actually reaching for some of those goals recently wasn't exactly a good thing. Now the prices are coming back down. Maybe they'll start reaching some of those goals. But to me, quite honestly, a sure sign of being an adult is when you start accepting full responsibility for all your actions.
Yeah, it's pretty much that cut and dry, right? When you're not turning to mom and dad anymore or blaming someone else for the things that go wrong in your life or right, that's when you're truly an adult.
Because there's plenty of people out there that have done all these things that are not adults because they want to blame everybody else for their lot in life.
There you go. All right, any questions for Chris, head to our website, dailybuzznow.com. You'll find his face there. We'll be back in a moment checking the inbox.